You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And good Wednesday evening, everyone. It's your boy, the Curve Doctor, not DJ Matty C. He got called into the old evening shift, so I'm not only pushing the buttons, but I got to pretend that I know what I'm doing. But thankfully, folks, I'm not alone. Back in action, making his glorious return after calling an exciting basketball matchup last Wednesday. Ladies and gentlemen, the Shield returns to us. Shield, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, I am doing fantastic now that we're on the air. Just like last week, nothing but technical difficulties, but we're here, and it's great to be back once again.
Absolutely. That's what we got to appreciate. You're right. Technology, if we didn't have any technical difficulties, I'd almost be worried because we always got to have at least a little something happen to make it happen there as well, too. So a lot of things cooking up here tonight, Voldy, as you know. I know there's a couple of chili pots cooking with chili still over at your place.
Oh, yeah. It's been going pretty well since yesterday evening. The missus cooked up a couple of crock pots full of chili. It was actually one crock pot full of chili, but learned that maybe two crock pots were probably safer than anything else. And luckily enough, there's plenty of chili still to go around here for at least a few more meals.
Okay, so if I drive down after the show, you're saying I'll be able to get on this chili action then?
Oh, absolutely. Door's always open.
Oh, fantastic. At Woods and Shores Studios. Absolutely. Can't wait to see it in action here as well. Well, very good. Well, Voldy, speaking of cooking too, things have been cooking up here in Wild Country, and right out of the oven, we've got ourselves a little tater tot hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
Oof, I tell you, that is really hot. You got to be very careful pulling that stuff out of the oven. It could burn you. As eager as we are to dive into that, too. So, Voldy, we've got some exciting news. The Wild are actually in a playoff push. What's going on with that?
It really all just seemed to happen a few weeks ago, right around the trade deadline. The Wild have been playing kind of like a different team. They're a team within themselves, and a team that is a completely different team than it was at the beginning of the year. You saw players. It felt like it was a bad situation overall. Coach Bruce Boudreau getting let go after that weird loss they had against New York a few weeks ago, and the fact that the team hasn't been performing to the same level that have happened in years past with some of those great playoff teams that the Wild have had in recent memory. But ever since the letting go of Coach Bruce Boudreau, then kind of the moves that were made at the trade deadline and, kind of moving things around, kind of tinkering the lineup a little bit with Bill Guerin at the GM spot, things have really turned around for the Wild. You see some of these younger guys getting more consistent time. Kevin Fiala's been scoring with a rampage. He's been doing everything that he can to make a difference for this Wild team, and everything is just really turned around, especially with Dean Eastman as, taking over Dean Evanson as the coach for the Wild right now. And the team's been playing at a really good level. They picked up some really nice wins, had a nice win last night against Nashville. Those are games right there in the division that are going to be crucial down the stretch if they want to make that playoff push. It's not like there have been the beginning of the year was really bad. When they got to 500, everybody thought it was going to be a miracle if they got back to 500. They did that. They've been playing pretty well. I mean, the other night, Sunday night, they took a loss against Washington, but they're a team that was in the Stanley Cup Finals a couple years ago. They won a Stanley Cup, and a lot of the same players still on that team. And I think it's really been nice to see that the Wild finally start piecing something together to make that stretch run here heading into the later half of the season.
So, Voldy, I got to ask, agree with what you're saying, spot on. So the thing that I'm sure is in the back of your mind, my mind, and a lot of zoners' mind is the the choke factor when the playoffs come around. And I wasn't actually joking, promise, drink lots of water. But it seems like they always end up choking. So what is going to be the difference this time, you think, if they're able to go through?
That's a great question. I think, honestly, what the difference maker is going to be is, can the goaltending hold up? Devin Dubnyk hasn't been the same last couple seasons, season and a half, to say the least. Sure, Alex Stalock's been playing really well for the Wild as of late. He's a lot of flash in the pan. He's either on and he's been great, or he's off. Sometimes it's going to take some, 4-3 games, some 5-4 games for the Wild to win a couple ugly ones in the later half of this season. But the fact that the goaltending is going to have to hold up down the later stretch of this season is going to be the difference maker. And hopefully we keep that choke factor down here in the final weeks of the season.
Yeah, they're going to have to know their own little Heimlich maneuver, if you will. You're right, to keep us from going there as well, too. Say shout out to Patrick earlier at Pioneer. Thanks for tuning in. And DJ Matty C. He is on the night shift, but he does have the ability to make a few cameos. So we appreciate you, DJ Matty C, helping us out along the way. Let's see. Huge win for the squad. Follow was fantastic. The young guys are stepping up. But I predict a one and done. That's usually a safe bet. I mean, I'm probably putting the mortgage on my house. Just kidding, I wouldn't do that. But it seems very likely too. I get my hopes up. I'm sure you get your hopes up too, Voldy, and then they crush it. But who knows? The Gophers football is making strides, and now the Wild could be maybe they're the next Gopher football and keeps our Minnesota sports hopes alive.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it happen, especially with Bill Guerin now at the helm. Hopefully going into the offseason, he makes some moves. I think another really turning point of the season so far is the fact that there were all those rumors of possibly the Wild letting go of Zach Parise. I think that was the shot across the bow that Bill Guerin, was putting out there saying, hey, anybody is replaceable. This is a business. This is not, a livelihood. You can come and go anytime that I or the front office says so. I think it was a real shot in the arm. I think Zach Parise would have been very surprised if it would have happened. Sure, he would have been on a better team, and sure, he probably would have made a nice run in the playoffs and going back to the East Coast where he started his career. But I think that kind of said to everybody, hey, we need to start putting it together and start making plays. Otherwise, who knows? We all could be gone by the end of the season. We're no longer playing in Minnesota. I think that was another key turning point for the Wild here this season.
Yeah. Well, and worst case, I mean, we're the state of hockey, so, we'll just see this year's high school state tournament. We'll just pull the next best goalie and throw him in there, too. I mean,
exactly. Started today.
Right? Exactly. The next generation. Excellent. Well, man, delicious tater tot tonight here, Voldy. Very good. Lots of good salt and pepper there, too. I think it's going to be a hot dish to remember for a good long time. And I hope we're tasting some playoff hot dish in just a little bit. All right, well, Voldy, I think it's time we transition into everybody's favorite segment. You've got some great ones lined up here. But actually, I'm getting ahead of myself, Voldy, because we've actually got to reflect on some key moments that you have gained after you emerged from your trip to this certain temple. Let's take a look, folks.
He has emerged from the Temple of Wisdom. Gather round for Voldy's Virtues.
All right, Shield, you have come down from the Temple of Wisdom. What would you like to share with us this week that the wisdom shared?
Well, in a very short time with Voldy's Virtues, I have come to the realization that there is something that some of these topics themselves may be a little bit off the wall. I'm the type of person, you can take numbers, you can take whatever you want, statistics, throw them completely out. I want to talk about the people. I want to talk about the persons, the organizations, everything involved. And that's one thing that I want to talk about is hugging it out. Professional sports leagues and the Olympics. It's a love-hate relationship that has stood the test of time for generations. I mean, we can go back to some of the greatest events and moments that have happened in Olympic history. They have been some way, shape, and formed by professional athletes. Sure, you can talk about the Miracle on Ice. They were all amateurs celebrating their 40th anniversary a few weeks ago, by the way. Just a fun little fact about that. But I want to talk about the fact that there has been so much backlash over the last few Olympics, whether summer or winter, about participation by professional athletes. And one of them that has stood out the most in recent memory, of course, with it being an Olympic year, 2020 in the Summer Olympics, potentially in Tokyo, but that's a story for another time.
Yes.
Relating to health concerns and other geopolitical things, but that's not this kind of show. But we're talking about how Major League Baseball and even the World Softball Confederation and the sports themselves of softball and baseball kind of been overshadowed and underappreciated in recent memory, with the fact that the Olympics dropped both sports for a couple of years, when a lot of people looked forward to, especially with Team USA softball competing in the Summer Olympics. I mean, those were some great years.
Absolutely.
Team USA baseball back in 2004 won a gold medal, for Pete's sake, and beyond that hasn't been a whole lot. It's usually been Cuba, or usually Cuba, that's been really well in the fact of the in the Olympic baseball field as well. But a couple of recent news stories: the fact that Major League Baseball made the decision that players that are not active on 40-man rosters for Major League Baseball teams will be willing to bring up the fact that they can play for their respected countries. But I want to talk about the fact that, sure, some of these players that are on 40-man league rosters are good, but the fact that, say, maybe, guys like a Mike Trout or Giancarlo Stanton or Aroldis Chapman or other players as well that are some of the top names, Chris Bryant, Bryce Harper, guys this, they want to play for Team USA, but the opportunity or play for their respected countries. Maybe they want that chance to wear their home colors and represent their country. But Major League Baseball is not willing to do that. That's something that's really bothered me for a long time. Why does a league that has a gaining interest in their players, of course, you can bring up the fact that you are controlling the fact that you have contracts with these players. You want to make them, the brand of your league or whatever, but not allowing them the opportunity to make a decision for themselves is another thing that is still completely troublesome. Of the fact that they do not want this to happen, even though they say, sure, some of these guys that were good maybe 5 or 6 years ago for half a season can still, maybe make a major league roster. Or guys that are probably 3 or 4 years out of college and or high school can go overseas and play in, the Olympics or whatever. But how great would it be able to see some of the great shining stars of Major League Baseball take, however long it is, like, was it 6 weeks in the Olympics or something like that, and represent your country to see and get not only the fame here in the United States, but international fame as well, and see some of the best play in the international circuit. I mean, this isn't even translating to baseball as well. The NHL has struggled with its relationship with the International Olympic Committee as well.
Sure.
The NHL commissioner, Gary Bettman, mostly a hate relationship, not a love-hate, hate relationship. I'm sure a lot of people would bring that up. But the fact that NHL has backed out of sending, some of the top-tier players, even players in the league as well, they're backing out. The last Winter Olympics, guys who were in the NHL, very hard to come by. That's why it was a down year for a lot of great teams like the Finns and the Swedes, and of course the Russians did all right because they've got enough players to hold themselves. Team USA had a down performance as well in the 2018 Winter Olympics, and it only seems the fact the only sport that cares about professional players and representing in the Olympics their countries, and of course this is pretty much a one-sided, if not a two-sided affair, is basketball.
Yeah.
Now, we all know my stance on the sport of basketball in general. We'll put that aside here momentarily. But Team USA and the Spaniards, Team Spain as well, are the ones that always somehow end up playing for a gold medal at some point. Argentina has always had a really good, good representation in the medal round as well. But the only sport and the only professional leagues that seem to care the most, of course, is basketball. The success of the 1992 gold medal Olympic team, the Dream Team, really set that standard. 2008, the Redeem team coming through with the gold medal once again, and it's been that standard of Team USA winning the gold medal ever since that horrendous performance in 2004. Don't like to talk about that, but
We'll try to forget it.
I'm just really would like to see a little bit more focus and maybe try to talk things out. Maybe consult as well about the fact that why is it the NBA puts so much trust in the athletes, and also, the relationship that is maybe with the International Olympic Committee, the IOC, that doesn't completely translate to Major League Baseball, to the NHL, and why it doesn't seem to be a whole lot of cooperation and allowing, because in the end, you would like to think that the athletes themselves would be the ones controlling their own destiny.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. You want to be able to have it. And I think really, Foldy, first of all, great stuff there too. And I want to echo what DJ Matty C said in the comments. For those who don't know, Voldy did an entire forensics speech along this very subject line. Was that the one that you and Matty C finaled in too?
Yes, it was.
So you are an awarded forensics expert, a forensic expert in the speech element. Forensic speech, I know, doesn't always make sense, but so he's got that back down there too. But I agree. I think Voldy, they got to go in there. To me, through this whole time, what I was thinking is the song, Why Can't We Be Friends?
Right?
And, I mean, that's just it.
Goodness.
We'll go in there to negotiate. I get a little Henry Kissinger. Gentlemen, can we please just hug it out? And we do that. And then I just think the whole situation's under control, too. So you agree, Voldy? I think moral of the story is you hug it out. So thanks for hugging it out with us. You have to. That's just it. Make the Olympics great again. All right. Very good. Well, we won't go any further there because then we'll get into, like you say, other shows too. But all righty, and Manny C, Mark Fokin, absolutely could have done it without him. It's the real
absolutely.
Deal. All right, Voldy. Well, earlier I was getting ahead of myself and forgot about you coming down from the Temple of Wisdom, but now it's time for everybody's favorite segment. I think you know what that means.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, Voldy, what do we got cooking tonight?
All right, I'm going to pull it up here on my phone because I don't want to trust other technology to begin with,
totally
just to make sure that we can get things going here on a good note. Well, there are a couple of new rules coming to college football here in this coming season as well. One of them relating to the fact of possible uniform changes here, as some proposed rule changes for 2020. A recent report coming out from Yahoo Sports College Football did see a couple of new changes relating to the uniform side of things. No more than two players of these potential rule changes. No more than two players may wear the same jersey number, as has been customary in the college football ranks, because, sometimes you have more than, 100 players on the team. But also the fact that the number 0 could be an option in the near future as well. Other rules did include the likes of players being ejected for targeting may remain on the sideline. Normal rule is if you're ejected, you're out of the game. You're sitting in the locker room waiting for the post-game meal. Even officials' pregame jurisdiction to start about 90 minutes before kickoff, as customary. I believe it's about 45 minutes before kickoff as well. There's also replay reviews need to be completed in less than 2 minutes as well. That's also another very interesting rule that I thought would be, more media friendly and also fan friendly at the same time, because I guess the name of the game nowadays is speeding up the game in every single
Our attention spans just aren't there. Yeah,
exactly. The attention spans keeps dwindling, and now we're talking about speeding up replay reviews, which I've always been a big fan of. Either it's right or it's wrong. The more you look into it, the more you start to question even reality.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got to pinch yourself. Yeah.
So is it absurd or approved the new possible rule changes coming to college football for 2020?
All right. Well, that's a double attack there, Voldy. I like it. Well, I think you're right, because you got just ginormous programs and teams going on there. You got to give them the number 0. Okay, I'm basing this off math class, right? We got into math class, and they said the number 0. It is unique because it's not a positive or a negative. it's in its own lane. But I think honestly, you got to go 0. And if college football keeps growing and you just keep bringing in guys all the time and you have over 100 players, obviously you get 4 numbers on the jersey. It's going to be way too hard to read. Everyone's going to need opera glasses, to see what's going on with the thing too. So I'm just saying maybe you keep the number 0 and maybe even, I know this is maybe bold, but you do a negative 11.
Ooh,
I'm negative
interesting.
11. I mean, just to fill that time, So you're like, well, that's cute. You're number 7. I'm negative 7. So that might be too. So I think the 0, I'm going to say approved. And since I'm in control of the stamp of approval, I can give myself the stamp of approval.
There
it's
it
pretty
is.
fun. Oh, yeah. Directing perks. So that's very fun. As far as the sideline, though, too, I'm going to say that's absurd, actually, Voley, just because I think if you commit, kind of a really bad act in the sense of targeting in that, I think, getting out of the sideline, removing yourself from the game, I mean, that'll really, to me, really awaken you. Obviously, not playing is a big motivating factor for sure. But to me, if you're in the sideline, you're completely removed from the activity. You would like to think, or I'd like to think at least, that they're going to do that. So anyway, that's what I think too. But I know, Voldy, you've got some thoughts on this as well.
No, I got to give it a big stamp of approval for players being able to wear number 0, maybe even double 0 coming up in the very near future.
Yes.
Just to throw that one out there, because that's not just 0.
That's right.
2 zeros.
You
You
can
match
fit it
them
on
right
the
up.
jersey.
Next thing you know, we're going to start running out of numbers, and players are going to start wearing infinity symbols, maybe a pi symbol as well. But I can't go wrong with it. Something about the number 0 just looks good on the front and the back of a jersey. Now, I find it very interesting as well, the fact that, of course, common sense would say you would be ejected from a game and then you would be, gone, and you just have to go sit in the locker room. If you're an away player, you'd probably sit in the locker room, maybe sit on the bus or wait in the tunnel. But, maybe putting them on the sideline, sure, maybe if you're injured or something, but as long as they're away from like where the immediate action is, I don't see a problem with it. But if they're going to be on the sideline still egging people on, I mean, that's going to be an issue for more than just the players. It's going to be for coaching staff, people on the sideline as well, training staff, even maybe athletic department personnel. It could potentially be some situations that could get out of hand and maybe put college football in a bad light, but as of right now, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, and hopefully you're right. Hopefully, Voldy, it prevails fine too. And you're right. If somebody goes all OBJ on the sideline there, they're just breaking their knuckles or something on the trainer, and then it's on TV, that might persuade them otherwise too. So we'll remain optimistic about it as well. All right, let's hear it for number 0. Great stuff. Voldy, what do you got next year for us?
All right, we've got the potentiality of the XFL meeting college football. We're sticking with college football because you can't go wrong with it.
Hear.
Now, the Citadel, which was a college in Charleston, South Carolina, is going to be playing their spring game coming up on March 7th. Of course, they've got the beautiful weather down there, so of course they're going to be playing in March 7th, while the Gophers just opened up spring practice this week.
Yeah.
Now, they are going to be using some rules that have just been implemented by the newly rechristened XFL, which started just a little over a month ago. Some of the different rules that they are going to be practicing with do include the new kickoff rule that the XFL has implemented this year, including which is the kick is from the 35-yard line with the coverage team lining up on the return side's 35-yard line, 5 yards away from the return team. Neither team can move until the returner catches the ball. And of course, there is no traditional PAT as well after a touchdown, with the offense having the option of running a play from the 2, 5, or 10-yard line worth 1, 2, or 3 points after the touchdown. If the defense forces the turnover and returns it to the other end zone, the resulting score is the equal number to the number of points the offense was trying to score on that play. And of course, there can also be a double forward pass if the first pass is behind the line of scrimmage, and if overtime is needed, it'll be a shootout style, 1 for 1 until one team doesn't score. As simple as that. So, absurd or approved to you, Kerf Doctor?
Yes.
The proposed possible rule changes, or the fact that college football maybe even taking these rules into effect, at least for the spring game side of things.
Yeah, absolutely, Voley. Well, I think I got to give it approval there too, because for one thing, the XFL on their end, they're not that they're trying to completely compete with the NFL, but at the same time, they do got to try to offer some different things. It's like the number one rule in marketing that from when I skim my textbook in school, I try to read the stuff, but in the textbook's just not that good reading. But you want to differentiate yourself. Tide detergent. Why do you want to get Gain? Is it the green color or whatever? So basing it off that, I'm thinking that the having that variety, sprinkling up. I like the point system, especially like you say, 2 on the different yard lines. So then, depending on how gutsy you're feeling, how many points you need to feel, because NFL, obviously the field goal and the touchdown has its charm, but just even thinking the fact that if we can get the 5 points here, if we back it up, or we just play it safe and punch it in. I just think that's a good dynamic as well, too. So I just think that's all a good stamp of approval in that, too, and keeps college football a little more interesting as well. But, Foley, what do you think?
I mean, I'm definitely a big fan of it. I like the fact that the XFL has brought something new to the game of football, a sport that's as old as time itself. Of course, the NFL just celebrating its 100th season this past year. But I do like the fact that there are different scoring options compared to you get a touchdown, a field goal. Okay, you get the touchdown. Do you want to go kick it for 1? You want to run a play from the 2-yard line for 2 points? That's it. The XFL has got anything and everything you need. Sure, you're maybe up by 7, but maybe you scored another touchdown. Hey, let's go for 3 on this one from the 10-yard line. And, the scores haven't been too bad as of late. There were the first couple weeks that were a little shaky for the XFL. I think it's a bit of a bold move for the coaching staff for the Citadel to be practicing with rules that are not implemented in college football and kind of experimenting with the XFL side of things, even though the NFL is the one that, of course, the college football is also the one that's, a little bit different from the NFL, but the same basic principles are still there. I think it's a stamp of approval to kind of get fans excited about the Citadel, who finished 6-6 this past year for their team as well. But maybe it'll get people excited, maybe start thinking about, maybe we should start looking at something like this. Maybe college football makes some changes in the next couple of years.
Yeah, do a little NCAA, pay attention.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, good for them, too. Citadel, I don't know if you've been through Charleston, Voldy, but did a family vacation there one time.
Really?
And, yeah, we drove by the Citadel, at least part of their facilities, too, and it's a beautiful setup. So I think it'll be a good PR move for them, too. If anyone can get it going, maybe the Citadel could be the place to do it.
Absolutely.
To see. I mean, if nothing else, we'll just go down there and soak in the weather, I'm thinking. That would be...
I mean, I'm not against it.
Exactly. You book the tickets, I'll buy the gas. So, alrighty. Well, let's see here. Voldy, you've got another one here, too. What other gems do you have hidden here in A&A?
Yes, this one's a little bit more of the colorful side of things as well. As a youth hockey tournament in good old Canada, British Columbia, in the small town of Dawson Creek, British Columbia, Canada, was the recipient, an 8-year-old player, received a very interesting basket at a local raffle. The child's grandfather, Keith Reddell, said his grandson plays novice hockey, and while other children between the ages of 6 and 7, usually get maybe, some goodies of other sorts. Well, this young man, young child, I should say, not quite a man yet, won a weed gift basket that did include some various paraphernalias. Usually each team is responsible for putting together a gift basket or a prize package with a minimum value about $50. That normally, such as movie tickets, card games, board games, things of that sort. Well, somebody decided to get a little creative with this. I'm reading an article that was posted online here, and usually the raffle itself, you buy some raffle tickets, put it in a bag that represents the gift basket or whatever. Well, the child was quoted as saying he saw what was in said gift basket that was chocolate and chocolate fondue, so he put a ticket in the bag, and luckily enough, he won. Well, according to such items as well that did include various paraphernalias, actually I got to blow up the picture to see. Looks like
make it legit.
Various things that did include, looks like rolling papers,
All right.
even various cannabis-related items as well that were able to find its way into a youth hockey tournament raffle and ended up walking away from for a 9-year-old. And the fact that this was even able to slip through.
I
Is,
know, yeah.
I think I don't even have to ask the question, is it absurd or proof that somehow an 8-year-old was able to win such a gift basket overall?
Yeah, I know the Canadians are a little bit different. You know, they're kind of doing their own thing, you know, too, and apologizing for everything. But they really got to be apologizing. Oh, I'm so sorry, sorry for the weed. But I don't like, honestly too. It's like giving a kid, I don't know, they put like a cigarettes or something too. Like here's a pack of Marlboro. We got the grape flavor and yeah, but make good choices, kid, too. Yeah, I can't believe that too. So, I mean, I don't know if he did he walk away with the weed? Did it say or?
You know, looking at it a little bit more, it does not say, but I can look at it here in just a second just to see if I believe. I feel like in the right hands, it got to. Well, I should say, hopefully, it got right to the right person to say, yeah, this is definitely not happening as well. But it's very different to see the fact that it got from the person who thought maybe this was a good idea to the kid that ended up winning it. You would thought maybe whoever decided to draw it would be like, I think we'll save this one for last, or we'll just take this one off the table for the future, because you would think at least an entire one person be like, wait a second, is that weed? That's definitely that's not no, you know what, I'm just gonna take this. I'm gonna remove temptation. I'm gonna bite the bullet for this one, you guys.
Yeah, that is just nuts that they snuck through with that too. So Canada, guess you could do anything over there. So hopefully he was able to sell it, but I guess it's been legal there for quite a while, so I don't know how much money. Obviously, if it was to find its way here, which I would never advocate for any illegal activities, but he probably could at least get some good money to buy a new set of skates or hockey sticks. I know that gear is expensive, so
that it is.
Yeah,
it is. And just a quick note here as well. It does state that the local minor hockey association that is associated with this does say that the British Columbia Hockey and the policies of British Columbia Hockey and the standard procedures for ticket raffles of the BC Gaming and Policy Branch does not exclude cannabis products as a raffle prize. So there you go. That's just something worth noting as well.
Interesting. Canada, those Canadians just continuing to impress.
Canada. That's just all I got.
Yes. Canada is right. We're going to change that graphic. Nice. Oh, too funny. Well, Voldy, did you had one more ARA or?
Yes, this one we're just going to kind of skim over here really quick because of the fact that this is probably going to be another topic for Voldy's virtues in the coming weeks. We want to see how things kind of develop. But the latest report in the Tom Brady sweepstakes, or the impending Brady deadline, which is March 18th at 4 o'clock Eastern time, just to throw that out there in case you want to mark your calendars down. Latest report said quite possibly Tom Brady may be coming home. The fact that the San Francisco 49ers, of course, nothing official. It's all completely speculation.
Oh, yes.
But Tom Brady, native Californian, played a little bit of football at the College of San Mateo. Also did Julian Edelman. Fun fact about that.
Oh, neat.
Didn't even know that until most recently. But there have been multiple speculations that maybe the San Francisco 49ers would be a good fit for Tom Brady going into this year, as opposed to the guy that just led them to the Super Bowl, that being Jimmy Garoppolo.
Ah, yes, Jimmy G.
Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes, name sounds a little bit familiar. Well, let's back it up about 6 years. Some guy by the name of Jimmy Garoppolo is, the guy who's backing up this guy, Tom Brady. Leader of the Tom Brady Clipboard Holders Association. That's a different story as well to bring up for a future date. But the fact there is an opportunity for Tom Brady to go from the New England Patriots to San Francisco. Okay, kind of weird. Tom Brady's a free agent, can do what he wants, even though he should stay in New England. That's a different story again.
What do you think?
These virtues in the future. There's also been talks as well that quite possibly the New England Patriots, who traded away Jimmy Garoppolo to San Francisco for picks, might actually want to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo back to replace Tom Brady.
Okay, all right.
Now, this was the situation 6 years ago, 2014. New England Patriots were playing Monday Night Football down in Kansas City. Horrible performance. Don't want to talk about it. Then it comes in this Jimmy Garoppolo kid, leads a touchdown drive, looked pretty well. Everybody said Tom Brady's done. He's washed up. He's garbage now. It's time for Jimmy G. And well, I think everything kind of worked out. A few more Super Bowls later.
Oh, excuse
Bless
me.
you, Kerf Doctor.
Thank you.
It worked out, everybody, for Patriots fans. Patriots haters, didn't work out for them. Again, that's a story for another time. But the opportunity is still there. Could we possibly see this come through? Again, March 18th, 4 o'clock Eastern time, the Brady deadline. If there's a deal worked out, where would it be? Who will it be?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to see Tom Brady stay. There's been a lot of things on social media said. There is certainly a lot of speculation out there. But what would you think, to you, Kirk?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Approved Tom Brady playing in San Francisco.
Oh, that would be – I think that'd be pretty awesome of that, too. I'm going to have to give that the old approval, too. Like you say, he's from the state. He'd be going back to where he is. And it'd be kind of like a Brett Favre situation, too. Obviously, Brett Favre always remembered ultimately for his time in Green Bay, and ultimately Tom Brady, if he does end up going to another team, will be remembered as a Patriot. But, I mean, how neat is that you'd be able to go and play in California with a rival team and then very well end up going back to the Super Bowl. You could end up facing, well, I guess the Patriots would be doomed in a sense unless they have another clipboard guy helping out Brady. But at least San Fran and KC would have a pretty epic matchup. And then, but then the Patriots, shoot, yeah, I mean, they got to have at least a few guys holding the clipboard to help them out is the only thing. So, but I think all in all, I think it'd be great. I think Tom has had a great career, and if he can get back to his home state and play some more ball, that would be fantastic. So my hand got away from the mouse, but now I can give myself a stamp of approval. So pumped. And Voldy, is it safe to say that you're thinking the same thing on Tom getting over the Cali, or you want to?
Well, there's a lot of things that could be said about my feelings of this whole
that's
situation
a good point, yeah.
overall. But if it were to happen that Tom Brady decides to sign with San Francisco or go anywhere else, the Patriots almost need to make a serious move at a veteran guy. If it so happens to be Tom Brady goes to San Francisco and all of a sudden now there's a surplus of quarterbacks for the San Francisco 49ers, maybe the Patriots definitely need to make a move and want to bring back Jimmy Garoppolo to the heir apparent that was for Tom Brady originally. Then they let him go. They, traded him away. Things worked out well for Jimmy Garoppolo, minus a season where he blew out his knee, but that's that's the saying of the night. Story for another time.
We got a whole book series. I mean, we could, a whole documentary. Yeah, there's a lot of subject matter. I agree.
But again, the Patriots, I think, need to bite the bullet here on this one. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady says he wants to keep playing until he's about 45. Well, he's going to be 43 pretty soon. And there's not a whole lot of options behind Tom Brady. Yep. You got a guy who was just drafted last year, and he got in Jarrett Stidham, that was. Not a whole lot to be excited about with that. And then you got Cody Kessler, a guy who's bounced around the league since he came in out of USC. You had guys like Jacoby Brissett. You had Brian Hoyer the last couple of years. Both are gone now. Both are in Indianapolis, believe it or not. And there hasn't been a whole lot of opportunity besides that to establish a quality backup. There are some decent free agents back there as well. You got Teddy Bridgewater, who's a free agent. Phillip Rivers is also a free agent. Be very interesting to see how they would look in Patriot uniforms. But I think is going to be, if Tom Brady decides to put on San Francisco uniform, I think it's absurd. I think it's absurd in general. Will I still cheer on Tom Brady? Absolutely. Will it feel very weird? Absolutely. I think overall it's just it's absurd to even think about Tom Brady wearing anything than royal blue, I should say navy blue, silver, and red.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and Paul, you are obviously a strong Boston fan, and the fact that I even was thinking that just tells you how badly I need coffee in my life. So that's just. What do you think about Zach? I know I've been chiming in here among a few others, but Zach saying Tennessee, a good run there too. I mean, he could keep in the AFC, have a chance to face his team more than likely too, probably, right? I mean,
That he would. That he would. That'd be a very interesting situation. Coached by a former teammate, Mike Vrabel. They have a very interesting past the last couple of seasons. When they went up to scrimmage with the Patriots before their preseason game, couple practices, Tom Brady and Vrabel got into some heated words, to say the least. But and of course, Tennessee getting a win in Foxborough over Tom Brady, and it'd be very interesting to see. I think they're in a very different situation down in Tennessee, with the fact that Ryan Tannehill is no slouch himself, or even the fact that there's also Marcus Mariota down there as well.
Well, that's the Sid Mariota too. Yeah,
they have a very interesting quarterback battle going into the offseason.
Yeah, good problem to have. I just think ultimately, whoever, like you say, the clipboard holder association for Brady, I think as long as you can get a guy, touch it, even a clipboard that Brady touched for mere minutes, and he'll just absorb all of Tom's secrets then? I mean, is that...
One would certainly hope so.
So I'm just saying, if anyone can get their hands on this clipboard, like one clipboard to rule them all, getting into Lord of the Rings territory there too. So, but nonetheless, I appreciate your candor, Voldy, and your passion as a true Bostonite and Patriot fan too. I'm very eager as well to see what happens here as well too. Well, we've made it now to the final leg of our journey here on MinneZona Sports Live, despite our technical difficulties too. I mean, I think we're doing very good, very efficiently here, Voldy. So I think I saw you on a horse here earlier, and you've got a few things to say. Let's take a look, folks.
Shield Shoutouts.
All righty, who we shout out this week, Voldy?
All right, we've got a couple of special Shield shout-outs coming this way this week. Of course, we've got to start off with the fact University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux men's hockey team clinching the NCHC regular season championship, the Penrose Cup, this past weekend with an overtime victory over Western Michigan. The Fighting Hawks, as they're known as well, including a fun little fact that Hawks is actually an acronym of HAWKS. How about we keep Sioux? Again, that's a story for another time down the road. That is also another fun fact. The third Penrose Cup to stay in Grand Forks since the 7 years that the NCHC has been a conference. So a big Shield shout out goes out to the UND men's hockey team for the regular season championship. We've got another Shield shout out, keeping it in the realm of college hockey, as announced here most recently that our alma mater, Kerf Doctor, at Southwest Minnesota State University, is beginning a club hockey team to join the ACHA, which is set to begin this coming fall of 2020. So a big Shield shout out to our own Southwest Minnesota State University for starting a club hockey team.
It's going to be great.
Exciting news.
Oh, yes. Red Baron Arena, going to be a good setup.
Oh, absolutely. Can't wait to see what the uniforms look like for the Mustangs. That's going to be great. This next Shield shout-out, next couple actually come on a little bit of some somber notes as well, but also very uplifting as this one out of the XFL. Tampa Bay Vipers running back Jaquez Patrick scored his first professional touchdown in a 25-0 victory over the DC Defenders this past week in the regular season for the Tampa Bay Vipers. After scoring the touchdown, you could see the running back was quite emotional after scoring his first touchdown. And on a sideline interview after the touchdown, it was revealed that Patrick has lost his father earlier in the week and was quite emotional, explaining the fact of why the needed celebration and the reaction post-words as well. But very uplifting to see Patrick score his first professional touchdown and also celebrating after the fact of losing his father earlier in the week as well. Another Shield shout-out goes out also to the city of Nashville and also Bridgestone Arena. This past Tuesday, there were some dangerous storms down in the Nashville area that led to a tornado and also the loss of life in the city of Nashville. So much so, of course, the Nashville Predators were at Minnesota last night taking on the Wild. Former Nashville owner Craig Leopold, who is now the owner for the Minnesota Wild, is one of the founding reasons why Nashville has an NHL franchise, made the gracious donation of $25,000 towards the city of Nashville, and the Minnesota Wild donate and also match that said fund. So
oh wow,
$50,000
I did not realize that.
going towards the city of Nashville as well. But this shield shout out also going towards Leopold, the Leopold family in the Minnesota Wild. Yep. Bridgestone Arena announced on Tuesday, the home of the Nashville Predators, had opened their doors Tuesday to any of those who were affected by these storms as well. Gave them shelter and also fed them as well, free of charge, no questions asked, just to make sure that everyone was okay and properly safe after the storms that destroyed many buildings and also, of course, many injuries and also the loss of life. So a big shield shout out goes out to the Leopolds, Minnesota Wild, and also Bridgestone Arena in the city of Nashville. Do have a couple more shield shout outs here, including one that a very cool story as well. Former MLB outfielder Anthony Gose, who was a journeyman outfielder for several teams in about a 5-year span, made his spring training debut this past week as a pitcher with the Cleveland Indians. He played 4 years in the outfield in 358 games and now is trying to revitalize his career as a pitcher. So shield shout out goes out to Anthony Gose, who is trying to make it back in the big leagues as a pitcher. We do have one more final shield shout out here this evening, as this one coming last night. Former NBA basketball player and Hall of Famer Tim Duncan earned his first head coaching victory last night with the San Antonio Spurs, 104-103 over the Charlotte Hornets Tuesday night, as he filled in for Coach Greg Popovich as he's stepping away momentarily to deal with some personal business as well. So a big shield shout out to the big fundamental, Tim Duncan. His first coaching victory with the San Antonio Spurs.
Absolutely.
Do it for shield shout outs this week.
Nice. Oh, those are some great shout outs. Gotta love those victories. And just always, it's always uplifting. You know, Voldy's shield shout-outs to me are like the equivalent of the puppy story that they put at the end of the news. You know, it just really gets you encouraged, gets you fired up, and everything else too. So way to keep digging out those gems. That's some good stuff there as well.
Absolutely.
And some good shout-outs too. So yeah, really excited about that SMSU hockey as well. I think that'll be a good step for sure for SMSU. Well, Voldy, heck of a show tonight. We overcame technology. We overcame a lot. We overcame the loss of DJ Matty C, and yet we were able to prevail, cover a lot of great topics. A lot of folks tuned in tonight as well, whether you're watching this live or if you're watching this after the fact. We appreciate you tuning into the program as well. Also, I have to do a selfish shout-out to my buddy Greg for appreciating my token reference. I even was going to say, Voldy, when I made that comment, you know, I think some people will appreciate that. And, Greg, it was meant to be. So I appreciate that support as well, too. So, Voldy, a great show. Hopefully we can do this again next week. I think DJ Matty C will be joining us again there as well, too. But until then, as we like to say, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.